You have an injury that you want to rehabilitate as soon as possible. You've been seeing a physical therapist, and while they're nice people and they're spending a lot of time with you, the injury recovery is a lot slower than you'd like. Why might that be? That's exactly what we're going to discuss in this video. We're going to talk about workout tips that physical therapists will not tell you, mostly because they don't know. So let's jump in. In general, physical therapists are very good with modalities. They're good with ultrasounds, lasers, hot baths, cold baths, acupuncture, etc. Where they're not that great at, on average, although there are exceptions, is exercise, which is too bad because usually exercise is the most potent part of the treatment. It's important to combine passive therapies, where you're lying down and stuff is being done to you, with active therapies, where you are an active participant in your own rehabilitation. Unfortunately, for a lot of physical therapists, exercise is an afterthought. And even those that do prescribed exercise, it's not prescribed very well. So how do you do corrective exercise well? That's what we'll cover right now. Tip number one is that the actual exercise itself matters a whole lot less than the other parameters around exercise prescription. Those parameters are the frequency, number of days per week, the intensity, how much weight or resistance you should be using, the number of repetitions, the number of sets. Those variables are all more important than the exercises themselves. You can use two exercises that are relatively similar and there's going to be very little difference between the two. But if you use one with the right parameters or protocol, another one with the wrong parameters or protocol, the exercise is virtually identical, and yet the results are going to be drastically different. And so that's tip number one. Piggybacking off of tip number one is tip number two, which is to figure out the appropriate weight or resistance. And that's where physical therapists kind of fall short, unfortunately. What they think is the most important part is the actual exercise. So they'll give everybody the same exercise, they'll give everybody the same resistance, and yet for some people who are quite strong, that resistance is inadequate. For some people who are quite weak, that resistance is excessive. And so it's important to figure out the right resistance for you that should be challenging. These exercises should not be easy. You have to cross a certain threshold of what it takes to make your muscles stronger or gain endurance or gain flexibility, etc. If you don't cross that threshold, if you're working below that threshold, you won't make progress, or you won't make progress very, very quickly. So a lot of physical therapists, what they need to be doing is they need to be in the session with them, systematically testing you with different weights or levels of resistance to figure out what is a resistance that is challenging to you. You don't want easy, you don't want difficult, you want challenging. So that is tip number two. Tip number three is to try to progress the exercise. In other words, just because you figure out the right weight or resistance for you right now doesn't mean that's going to be the right weight or resistance for you in a week or 2 weeks, etc. Every time you should strive to make that exercise slightly more difficult. Add 1 repetition, add 1 pound, add 1 centimeter of tension, etc. So it's very, very important to think of how can you beat your previous performance in that one exercise. And you should apply that across all of the exercises that you're going to be doing therapeutically. Tip number four, with the exception of a few cases, focus only on pain-free repetitions. As I talk about in my other videos on step-ups and pain reduction and so on, it's very important to not let the brain think that you're in pain. Don't train pain. Your muscles might not be tired, but your joints might already be in pain. Stop before that happens. Don't seek a good workout. You're not here to train the muscles, you're here to train the brain. You're just using the muscles as the tool for brain training. So again, if your target is to do 10 repetitions, but only the first 4 are pain-free, the next 6 are painful, stop after 4 and that's it. Focus on pain-free repetitions. And tip number 5, as I talk about in my Amazon best-selling book, The Natural Approach to Osteoarthritis, you're looking for immediate improvement. And that's your expectation. You want to see progress immediately. You don't want to see progress in 2 weeks. You want to see a lot of progress in 2 weeks. But you want to see progress from the beginning of the workout to the end of the workout. And so the goal is to find what I call an indicator test. Find a movement that is painful to you right now. And then you're going to do your therapeutic exercises and you're going to retest that movement at the beginning of the workout and at the end of the workout. You want to see a reduction in pain between the beginning and the end. So what you might do at the beginning of the workout is you do your indicator test, your indicator movement, and rate it on a 0 to 10 scale. 0 means there is no pain, 10 means you're in agony. You do your workout and you retest that movement again. It should have dropped from just that session. Now that drop may not be maintained. You need to repeat that workout But if that workout did not drop the pain within that session, you're barking up the wrong tree and it's time to seek a different solution. This is general rule. Some conditions do take longer, some need a few sessions or a few weeks to get better, but on average, a lot of injuries should feel better in that session immediately. To close off, if you want additional workout tips about both rehabilitation as well as general fitness, we have a free fitness newsletter that you can sign up for by clicking on the link below. Additionally, if you want help, if you've been frustrated at your lack of progress in rehabilitation and you want a more effective approach to rehabilitation, you can feel free to apply to work with one of our team members to see if you qualify by visiting my website at www.fitnesssolutionsplus.ca or clicking on the link below. Once you book an appointment with us, it's free, it's complimentary, it's only 10 to 15 minutes of a Zoom chat. It's no pressure, no sales pitch, just to discuss, can we work together, can we help you, and so on. Thank you and goodbye.